It's 3 a.m. in Kyiv as the city is under attack. Day 4 of the campaign. How is the Russia assault going? Here to break down the moves on the ground, Fox News senior strategic analyst, General Jack Keane. General, what did we get? What grade would you give the Ukraine military so far?
Well, I give them an A. I mean, you can't win a war without will, and they are definitely demonstrating real steadfastness, determination, and will. I mean, they're up against capabilities and equipment that certainly overmatch them. But there they are, determined and fighting as hard as they possibly can. And your heart goes out to them. And look at what's really going on here. They're fighting for their families. They're fighting for their way of life. They're fighting for their future. And we pray for them.
And usually there's tensions between nations. There was tension between one nation because they decided to elect their leader and leaned west instead of east. That's their sin, and I'm being sarcastic. Let's pull up one map that you wanted to take a look at to give people an idea of what's happening inside that country. And we got arrows coming from 4 sides. Maybe you could bring us through, General. Where's this attack, where this attack is coming from and why?
Yeah, well, I had them take a lot of the stuff off the map so we could focus on the scale of this campaign. The Russians, much to my surprise, have selected the most ambitious and complicated campaign plan to collapse this country. And if you look at those 4 hours, those are the avenues of approach that the ground and naval forces are taking to enter the country. Naval forces coming from the south down there where you see the green in Crimea. And the ground attack forces, some of them are down there as well, are starting up north where you see Kyiv, that northern arrow about 12 o'clock, and then going around to the right. Those are all avenues of approach for heavy conventional ground forces. And what's interesting about this, he's doing it simultaneously, which means that each one of those has to have their own air support to provide preparatory fires for the ground forces to make advances. And then each one of them, because they're separated by hundreds of miles,
right,
have to have integrated logistics support. So this is very complicated. I think the reason, although I obviously haven't spoken to them, for selecting this complicated, ambitious campaign plan is because they wanted to collapse the country quickly. So let's do all 4 avenues of approach near simultaneous. That is the objective, with the main effort certainly being going into Kyiv. But what has happened as a result of that? The fact is, there's not a single major population center that is in Russian hands after 3 days of fighting and 4 nights of air campaign, the 5th night being tonight. Second thing, their air campaign that they're running themselves has been somewhat ineffective, which is surprising given the advanced capabilities that they have and the overmatch that they have of the Ukrainians' ability to defend. What am I talking about? They're still Ukrainian aircraft flying. The Russians have not shut down and controlled the airspace. They are still air defense systems that the Ukrainians are firing at Russian airplanes. After all of this time, give you a comparison, the United States would likely have taken down their air defense systems and much of the opposing air force on the first night. The third thing that's happening as well is they've lost operational momentum. And, you know, our expert journalists, and by the way, guys, and we're doing some great reporting here, and that has happened. They've lost operational momentum because certainly the Ukrainian resistance is tantamount to why that's happening. But the second thing is they've had logistics problems. And you have operational pauses when you don't have fuel, when you don't have ammunition. Not so much food. Soldiers can fight for quite a while without food, but they need water, they need fuel, and they need ammunition. And then the last thing, which is quite mystifying to me, Brian, the Russians have a complementary offensive cyber capability that competes with the United States. That's how good they are. They're number 2 in the world at this. But yet, in all of the major cities, the power is on and the water is running. Not only that, Putin and his cyber team have not taken them off the internet. They haven't shut it down. So international broadcasting is going on. Communication systems are up and running.
Right.
And the internet is up and running. And what is the world hearing? The world is hearing the Ukraine narrative. By the minute, by the hour, and by the day, the message of what is happening to the Ukraine people,
right,
their steadfastness, their positiveness, and also the suffering that has taken place, the entire world is gripped by all of that, and Putin hasn't shut it down. It's absolutely stunning.
Right. General,
go ahead, Brian.
Just real quick, we're up against it. But if you're Vladimir Putin and you're that insular, do you begin to panic?
I don't know the man that well to make a judgment about that. But I do think that he knows full well the longer this takes, the more adverse it becomes for him. So the option he has to speed this up, I think, is one that they have been resisting, and that is to rubble these cities like they have done in the past in Chechnya in 2000 and what they have done in Syria with absolute brutal carpet bombing. That option is still there to make this thing go faster. I think he's restrained that for all the obvious reasons. He's already become an international pariah for doing this, and that would certainly add fuel to that fire.
General, it was great. Thanks for getting me ready for this, and thanks for coming on with us and setting us up for the rest of the night. It's a time in which we need your expertise. Thank you again.
Yeah, great talking to you, Brian. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.